This is the Stop Playing Podcast with Sham and Shaka. I'm Sham.
I'm Shaka. What's going on, Sham?
Nothing much. Just chilling on a Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday night. I'm on pins and needles right now. My Wizards are like, we're in the play-in, and we'll talk about this later. But man, every game is a heart attack with these guys. Like every game, it's ridiculous. But in general, I've been good.
Is Bradley Beal still crying?
You know, Bradley Beal started crying at the end of regulation in this game. And again, we'll talk about this. So, you know what? We'll save this because you've given your thoughts about crying.
No crying unless you win.
And I'm going to tell you, I was trying to be the lawyer for people who cry at the end of the game. This Bradley Beal would have sunk my whole case.
Nah, there's no excuse for this.
He would have sunk my whole case. But how has your week been?
Eventful.
Good. Good. Because, last episode you were saying it was uneventful and you were actually disappointed in that. So, but probably sometimes the events aren't the events we like, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my friend was telling me, he's like, how do you always end up in these situations?
Yeah.
He's like, things just happen to you. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But in general, of the events that happened this week, has it trended back towards normalcy or still up in the air?
Oh, it's regular. It's just like, just silly, crazy stuff. Like nothing like bad. Actually, no, we did find out. My friend found out her son was in a really bad car accident. Actually shut down, I think, the I-83 or whatever road that is in Arizona. It was shut down for like 8 hours. He has some fractures, few ribs, back, arm, and everything, and he's recuperating well. Unfortunately, his girlfriend, who was the driver of the vehicle, did not survive. She died on scene, and so did another individual in the other car. So
awful.
Definitely that started the week, and just kind of like him being on the other side of the country and not knowing, and so his mom is with him, been reporting in with her every day, and so they will be coming back on this side fairly soon. Yeah,
beautiful girl. You showed me some photos of them together and all that. So my heart prayers go out to him. But in general, that did start the week. That's right, because we were talking about that. But and he'll continue to deal with that. But eventful in the sense of, I had some ups and downs this week as well. Now, some good news. I won't even call him my shadow producer, our non-producer. Got his second shot this week, so you know how I feel about that.
Yes.
So got his second shot. He's good to go. He gives you his regards, and I do feel like now is the appropriate time to say he is actually producing another production of ours that I've been shouting us on, and I want to bring the fam into. Front Street News will be out shortly, but he's actually producing that, and he was like, I want Sham especially to give me her take on production because I know Shaka is so easy to work with.
I believe only half of that is true.
He did want you to hear it.
That's the part I knew was true.
Yeah, that's the half part. Family, I'm very easy to work with, guys. Yeah.
Look, as I said to you earlier, you have to be your own best cheerleader. You just do.
But he's very more so excited about his shot. But and everything else will be coming to y'all shortly. But Sham, I feel like we haven't talked in quite a while because, it's been a lot going on with the both of us. I actually begged out a little bit last week because I don't know, man, this weather change and all that. I had my side effects from the shot, and then I felt like I was getting better, and then I was working, and I kind of burnt myself out last week. I'll be totally honest. And it was just a lot going on. And it was the one time I was like, I wonder if Sham will mind if I beg off the cast. And I mean, that's a dumb question because I'm Johnny Too Eager all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah. All right, we'll go next week. Whatever. Yeah. She's like, why don't you leave it alone?
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the news of the accident kind of, because we were ready to go on Sunday. And then when I heard the news, I was like, you know what, I gotta, make sure my friend is good and everything.
Absolutely. So, it wasn't appropriate in my opinion. Yeah. In our opinion. So, but here we are. So look, May Day, we're in May.
It's gonna
basically
be May.
Summertime. I mean, it's springtime. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But we are kind of on the cusp of the openings. But before I even go through all that, how can the people find us?
The people can find us at www.stopplayinpodcast.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom of the page. You'll find each platform that we're available on. Click your favorite one and subscribe. Also, they can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Stop Playing Podcast and on Twitter at stop_playing_pod. And be sure to visit us at our YouTube channel at the Stop Playing Podcast. And also, if you have any questions or just some ideas or topics that you want us to discuss on the show, email us at info@stopplayinpodcast.com. Now, before we get into the stories, the news stories, I got a couple Sham stories. And I know how much you love Sham story time.
I do love Sham story time. Before we get into that, you guys have been seeing both me and Sham's beautiful, Sham's beautiful smile, me just looking like an idiot on a boat.
Yeah, I didn't understand that one at all.
Oh, no. Listen. I love that one. I was being facetious. I love that picture. That was on a party boat. And I remember that day and I had a lot of fun. Y'all been interacting with us. Thank you. Yeah, listen, that was pre-pandemic, guys, but we're going to get back to that. But Sham, nice smile. At the bar. Yeah.
I was at a comedy club, actually.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. At the bar at the comedy club. But anyway, all right, go ahead.
I'm sitting at a table.
Okay. Excuse me. All right, you know what? Go ahead. Share story time.
So Wednesday, I took a trip to Wegmans. I don't normally go to Wegmans because it's not on the bus line. So normally, if I take a trip to Wegmans, it's because I happen to be in that area. So I picked up a couple things, a couple steaks, some things to keep in the freezer. So as I'm walking out, I said, I think I'm hungry now. Let me stop by this sushi bar and see, what's good, because I never actually bought sushi from Wegmans before, but I always see the guys back there rolling the sushi like they be on it, moving quickly.
Yeah.
So I walked up, I was like, looking what was there. And then I was like, can I get a fresh one? So there was an Asian guy there, and then there was another guy who he looked to be European. I'm leaning on Italian, and I'll explain that when I get to the end.
Okay. So
the Asian gentleman, he answered me, but his English wasn't that great, so he was just kind of like, "It's right there, And I said, "Well, I just want to know if I can get a new one." And he said, "Give me," held his finger up 1 second. So he finishes what he's doing. He comes around and he stands next to me and he shows me. I said, "Well, I wanted a spicy tuna. I just wanted to know if you can make it fresh." He was like, "Oh, we make it, every day, like it was made today kind of thing." And so I said, "Oh, okay." So I looked at the date. I said, "Okay, it says 5/5, which was Wednesday." And I was like, "Is there wasabi in here?" He's like, "Yeah, there's a little packet in there, I'm like, "All right, cool." So I am comfortable with my decision after having that conversation that I'm going to get this sushi. No sooner than the guy walks away and I proceed to the checkout, the other guy makes it his business to come around the counter, stop me as I'm trying to walk away and say to me, "You do this every time you come here. You always say, 'Is it fresh?' And I tell you every time it's fresh. 3 times I told you it's fresh."
Wow.
And this is why I assumed he was Italian, because he had an accent. And I looked at him, I said, sir, I don't even know you. This is my first time here.
I was about to say, I was so confused. I was like, was I not paying attention? Wow.
I said, so I don't know what you're talking about. And also, all Black people don't look alike.
Yikes.
And then I walked away.
Hey, he's Italian, and I know you finished it. I have this vision of Eddie Murphy telling the story about the Italian people. Was that Raw or Delirious? Where he was talking about when the Italian people saw Rocky and he was impersonating them. You know what I'm talking about?
That might have been Raw.
Yeah.
Or no, it could have been Delirious because Rocky came out in the 70s and Delirious came out in 83. So I don't know.
Rocky came out in 77. I think it's 78. But yeah, and he's like all aggressive. Like, imagine how they were in the line seeing Rocky.
I mean, I told just hand motions. I every time you come here, I'm like, dude, I don't even know you. Like, get out of my face. Like, I was so mad about that.
So you walked off. What happened? Nothing.
Emailed the corporate and
left them in the dust.
Response.
Oh, you wrote a letter?
Mm-hmm.
Look at you. How quickly did you write a letter as soon as you got home?
I said I was going to do it as soon as I got home, but I waited a couple of days.
A couple of days?
I got date and time. I don't care. I'll wait a month. I'll still tell them.
That's great. That's the best letter. This happened like Tuesday. I had to gather myself. Did you say that?
No.
Oh, okay. No, that's funny though.
I know, but I just kind of felt like, I was accepting the fact that he wasn't going to make me a new one. I was fine with that. I was walking away to purchase it. You felt compelled. First of all, I wasn't even talking to you. Mm-hmm. You felt compelled to walk from around the counter to approach me in a crazy fashion.
Did you use the word accosted?
No.
Oh, okay. Hey, you'd have been within your rights.
He did accost me. He did.
Yeah,
he accosted me. I'm like, back up. Like, he was all up on me.
Wow. So you wrote this letter when?
What's today? Saturday?
Today is Saturday.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So today's Saturday. Made it 8th.
Well, I made it update by the next recording.
I was about to say, I made it my mission now to get. We need results from the letters. Now, you told us last time you get gift cards.
Probably. I'll probably get a $25 gift card to come back to the Wegmans.
Yeah. Last time I said the word Wegmans, I maybe falsely attributed that being the store that James Winston stole the crab legs from. Back in season 1.
Wasn't that a Piggly Wiggly?
Of the show. Yeah, see, that's what I said. I said Wegmans. I don't know. So Wegmans, I don't know. But if you could give the $25, if y'all sell crab legs, y'all sell sushi. So see, this is what I'm thinking. Y'all sell crab legs too.
Yeah, they do.
This is why. Yeah, I think it's crab legs. I think it's Wegmans.
They sell everything.
If it's Piggly Wiggly, we need to find James Winston. Anyway, I'm making this about James Winston. This is about you. Let us know. Give us an update, please.
I will. But also,
when it happens.
Something happened today that I wasn't even planning on talking about on this show. So just before I got home this evening, I stopped at my local Shell station. The premium gas prices are through the roof. I'm not going to tell you how much that costs, but I was a little irritated by that as well.
Yeah.
So I pull up. I'm at the first pump, and there's usually like the double pump. Car pulls up behind me. I proceed to pump my gas, let it go, get in the car, get back out. I get back out after the gas stops pumping, and I hear like a trickling sound, like maybe water touching the ground. So I turn around, and the guy behind me appears to be taking a piss while he's pumping the gas. So then I turned around. His back was towards me, so he didn't know that I saw. So I turned around, and I'm like, well, maybe it's the gas, because sometimes when you pump too much, the gas just trickles onto the ground and leaks out. So I said, I'm just going to say it's that. So he puts, he never turns around. He puts the gas pump back on, and then he goes to his pants and zips them up.
Yeah.
I said, this man done pissed while pumping gas. I said, what is wrong with people?
Yeah. Did you say something?
No, I ain't say nothing. I jumped in the car and rolled out. I was on the phone with my aunt. I was like, you won't believe what just happened.
Dudes are disgusting.
He was an older dude too, like a middle-aged white dude.
Oh God. All right. Well, we've been teasing the story, and you don't have to tell it today if you want, but you have to promise to tell this family story about the food truck and the accent. Do you trust yourself to do it succinctly now, or do you feel like we told too many stories for today?
Oh, when I went up to the food truck and put on my British accent, and the chef actually happened to be British and said, "That's the best you got."
I mean, thank you. There it is. We've been teasing it. When you gave the Sharon Osbourne update on the talk and all that, and you gave your impression. Every time you give an impression since then, this story happened like 3 or 4, longer than that, like 2 months ago. So he said, that's the best you got. And then what did you say?
I said, plenty of people have told me that my accent is spot on. Right. But he's a black guy.
Exactly. And then he said he was giving you a hard time, right? He actually gave you props. You told him.
Yeah. Because the girl was like, actually, because I was saying, when I went to London, how good the fish and chips was there. And because that's what I ordered. And I just wanted to know if it was authentic. And then I was, speaking in an inauthentic British accent.
But the point of me bringing that up was because now the fam knows you have credibility when you bring up these accents that you've actually been vouched for. Like in Ocean's 11, for some reason, listen, I'm not British, but a lot of people from the UK took a big exception to Don Cheadle's accent in that. And Don Cheadle was a great actor, but they were like, this is awful. So
it was a little bad.
Yeah. So when someone tries to do an accent, like when you do an accent sometimes, I feel like it should be validated. So you've been validated by an actual native. So I felt that was important. Yeah. What do I know? I didn't know Don Cheadle. I was like, oh, he sounds good. But what do I know?
Yeah, it's funny. Anyway. I watched that recently and was like, wow, this is really bad.
You gave him adjustment? Like us people who impersonate accents, you fail. No. Okay, I got you. All right. Well, listen, actually, you touched on something that kind of goes right into our first story. So, look, stuff is reopening. The vaccine is out. It's mixed results. I mean, I shouldn't say mixed results. Good results, but now the mixed results are the willingness to take it. So we're now back to that. So fortunately, I'm not like on my soapbox about minorities, black people, and all that. It's frankly, half of Republicans in the country are just like, I'm not going to take this, which is like, okay, well, fine. But because Republicans make up a big part of the country, if half of them don't take it, it still impedes our ability to get to herd immunity. So that's kind of where we are now. When we're talking about reopenings, I don't know about Maryland. Maybe you could speak on that. In DC, we're at a weird place. The mayor is kind of like, I'll let restaurants reopen, 50% capacity there. Big events like weddings, she's allowing 50% capacity, but she's not allowing dancing at weddings. I thought this was very interesting. And she was challenged on this. She was on CNN. She has a kind of a national profile, Muriel Bowser does. And even the anchor on CNN was like, so wait a minute, you're going to have weddings, but you can't have dance at the wedding? Well, why would anybody go to the wedding? Which I thought was like the best question in the whole world.
I go for the food. I don't go to dance.
Well, I mean, she basically was like, why would somebody go to a wedding if they can't party? Like, stop. I mean, food is involved in that. You're right. But she basically was like, oh, well, to see two people begin their lives together. And the anchor gave her a look like, whatever, please, stop. We can go to the courthouse.
You can have a wedding. You just can't have a reception.
Yeah. And who cares about that? Sham, I'm going to a wedding. In a month in Charlottesville, actually. And you know the person, you met him. And he sent out a thing, basically yeah, my wife and I have gotten vaxxed. I've gotten vaxxed. He was like, if you haven't gotten vaxxed, you don't feel comfortable, we won't take it personally if you don't want to come. But otherwise, We're going to practice social distancing as best we can. Be safe. And like, come on. And I feel like that's the attitude that like DC and everybody has. I'm not on the streets like that, but I'll go to something like that if I feel like it's planned properly. Stuff is opening up in general. Here we come, Memorial Days in 4 weeks, basically. How you feel about how things opened up? How's Maryland doing?
Maryland is at 100% for the most part. Yeah. 100, and the mask restrictions have been loosened. You no longer have to wear masks outdoors. You still have to wear them in public indoor places and private indoor places and stuff. Outdoor seating is 100% unmasked at restaurants.
I disagree with that completely.
Yeah, because honestly, unless it's truly outdoors, and even that's on thin ice because COVID is airborne. Right. It doesn't help. Like, because even before when they were doing outdoor seating, they were covering it and enclosing it, even though it was outdoors. So it was just kind of like, what are you doing? As far as vaccinations are concerned, I remember I sent you this text. Maryland is apparently the most vaccinated state in the country. And we have the least amount of new COVID cases and the least amount of transitions. And the least amount of people in the hospital. So, Hulk Hogan is out here putting his best effort out there, even though he's no longer Democrat. He's Republican now. But fully. He's back to being Republican.
He's ramping up for 2024.
Exactly. But he is a Republican that's vaccinated. So there's that. But yeah, so Maryland is trending the way that we want it to trend. We can get some of the other states to follow. That'd be great.
Yeah, and actually a follow-up to the story you've been tracking and giving us the specifics on. So I keep saying Baltimore, and you keep schooling me and the fam that it's not Baltimore as a city, it's the company. Ethereum, what are they called?
Emergent
Ethereum. I'm sitting there talking
Emergent Solutions, Inc.
Yeah. Story we shared. The CEO, before all this fallout, dumped like millions of dollars in stock, sold millions of dollars in stock before all this fallout happened. You and I shared that story about a week ago. Basically, the CEO of Emergent's in trouble.
That's insider trading.
Yeah, he's on some Kenley stuff. Basically, like, oh, Enron's getting ready to go down. Yeah, let me go ahead and sell this. So, it's about that one company. And it's about the executives there. The problem is that has rippled across the entire world because apparently that plant was a hub for AstraZeneca, which was basically a pillar for the vaccine in India. And we talked about this last week. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's getting exponentially worse over there. It's every day. Shem, we were talking about 400,000. I mean, I don't know if I don't know if you've been seeing the news. They've been showing people it looks like a war zone over there.
Like, wasn't it like something like 400,000 people in one day?
Yeah, 400,000 cases a day, and I don't know how many deaths. But they got people dying just all over the place. The hospitals are completely overwhelmed. Like we talked about last week, but they show it like point blank. People just, families trying to save their loved ones because they don't have enough doctors and nurses around to even tend to them. And they show them like point blank and they show them on TV dying. It's actually, I'm like seeing it. What are y'all doing? We get the point. But yeah, they are showing. One quick note. Ironically, we talked about Kenley and Enron, and we had talked about Bernie Madoff and mistake them for Kenley. And then Bernie Madoff upped and died a week and a half ago. Yeah, Mr. Ponzi scheme. He passed away since we've been off, but kind of tracks back to what we're talking about now with economics. Yeah, a lot of people, there's still Ponzi schemes going on, and there's still economic inequality going on. There's still people that like get screwed over by stuff like that. But Anyway.
Oh, correction. It's Emergent Biosolutions, not Emergent Solutions.
Well, they're about to be bankrupt. So,
and it's their plant in the Bayview area of Baltimore, very close to Johns Hopkins. But they're based headquartered in Gaithersburg.
Oh, Gaithersburg, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's more DMV than Baltimore.
Right. Yikes. But it's that one particular plant that was doing it in Baltimore City. That
plant is a problem. Like a huge one. Like that plant was a worldwide hub, apparently. So it's rippled out pretty bad.
Oh, wow. They have locations all over the world.
Yeah. Yes. It's again, I don't want to make that plant to sound like, well, I guess I have, but just to be clear, that plant is not the reason why, like India, for example, is blown up, but it certainly hasn't helped because that plant is sort of a hub that the company uses to distribute the vaccine across the globe. And so a problem there exacerbates all the problems everywhere else. So, you know, it's just a shame. And with India, the last thing I'll say about that, and, you know, I kind of said it last week, but we were more so talking about what can America do and the world do to help India and how it will ripple back on us. But also, India is more of a cautionary tale of, okay, they were doing all right. And we said this last week, but it's been fleshed out. They were doing very well with the vaccine. And then they decided to take the pressure off and just open everything back up right away. And then all of a sudden they got overwhelmed again. And it happened instantly. Like 1 week they were good. 1 week they were in the apocalypse. That can happen in America. And people don't think it can. Yes, it can. And like, we have to be very careful. People have to get vaccinated. A lot of people in India were not getting vaccinated. A lot of people in India not wearing masks and stuff like that. They were doing large gatherings. So they just need to chill out. And we need to chill out. Like, we're seeing what can unfold if you take your foot off the gas. So
Sham is chilling out. She's still acting like she never been vaccinated.
Yeah, and I know Shaka just said he's going to a wedding, but like at minimum, I'm not trying to make excuses, but at minimum, I am trying to be safe about it. Number one. And number two, I'm not out here in the street because, I mean, anybody knows Memorial Day to me would have been the beginning of summer. Like, boom. I'd have been out here in the street. We wouldn't have been typing. Like, what are we talking about? But anyway. So, Sham, Uncle Joe's had his 100 days. I think it's been a pretty successful 100 days.
He accomplished what he set out to accomplish.
Yeah. So he gave a speech, a nice speech, you know, talking about what he's trying to do. Basically, all the stimulus packages, all this and all that. Republicans can't stand them, of course. They're going to be against them, just like Democrats were against 45. So that's fair. But then, Sham, you know, there had to be a rebuttal. And the rebuttal is a thankless job. I've always said this. And, you know, I maybe alluded to this last week. Tim Scott gave the rebuttal.
No, Tim.
It was all. Did you watch any of that?
Nope.
I watched all of it.
Of course you did.
And he said, America's not a racist country.
Tim Scott, the black man.
Yeah. Yeah.
The black man that so eloquently made sense at the RNC, the only person that sounded like a human being.
And he even sounded like a human being last week. Van Jones said it best. And we talked about Van Jones, but he was very eloquent in his criticism of Tim Scott. Tim Scott is not a dumb person. He says nonsense sometimes, but he at least sounds like he knows what he's talking about when he's saying it.
I don't
know if that's a compliment or not.
Otherwise,
right.
What data?
Facts. No, I mean, I like it. Data, facts, whatever you want to call it. But
what data says that America is not a racist country? That's what I want to know.
Right. Tim Scott, like, stop. And you're from South Carolina. Like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, apparently he's a front runner for 2024, so we'll see how that works out.
45 is the front runner. 2024, at least at this particular moment. But to your point, Tim Scott, I think, is clearly running for 2024 and trying to do that. The Republican or any opposition party response to a presidential address is a thankless job. I would never take it. Never. Because you're out there, you sound like a hater. And you have no platform. And for the Republicans to ask one of their only black members to do that and for him to accept that, like, they're using you, fam. Like, stop it. Stop.
He Herschel Walker out here.
Yeah, they might as well have had Herschel Walker. I think he would have had more resonance. Like, football people be like, I remember Herschel Walker, if they didn't watch the Republican Commission. But anyway, so that was that. Now, Sham, look, even on some sexism, like Liz Cheney. So Liz Cheney is the daughter of Dick Cheney, who, before 45 came in, would probably have been the most hated Republican by Democrats on the face of the earth.
He didn't he shoot a whole person?
Yeah, he did. He shot his boy, as a matter of fact, on a whole person.
And nothing happened.
And then look, they try to John try to cover it up real quick. And then it kind of just accidentally got exposed. But Dick Cheney was former vice president under George W. Bush. Called a war criminal, started all these wars, did all that. Fine, he's out of office. His daughter, Liz Cheney, is the senator a congresswoman, which is key, from Wyoming, which is where they're from. All right, cool. She is one of the few congresswomen or Congress people, congressional members, to vote for impeachment for 45. Congress is where like all the crazy Republicans are, pretty much. So when she voted for impeachment, the House Republican leadership at first was like, what are you doing? You know, we're down for 45. Even Kevin McCarthy, the infamous, like, well, Kevin, like, even Mr. Wannabe Speaker was like, look, man, we ride for 45. You can't be doing this. They had a vote to try to, she's the number 3 Republican in the House right now. They wanted to have a vote to remove her. The other Republicans at the time was like, yo, this Dick Cheney's daughter. I mean, I'm saying it like that. She has her own credentials, but the point being, she's very conservative. She has a good history. But she was like, look, this is nonsense. 45 is nonsense. The insurrection was nonsense. Joe Biden won the election. We need to like accept that and move on. That's all she's doing. That's the only reason they want to get rid of her. But yeah, they want to get rid of her. And they're dragging her in the media. And a lot of people, like, they're treating her bad, especially worse because she's a woman. So they're getting her out of there. She's going to get voted out of there next week. Kevin McCarthy, the same Kevin McCarthy we talked about on this show, who tried to cuss out 45 when the insurrection was happening. Like, hey, man, these people are coming. Who the fuck are you talking to? And 45 was like, well, Kevin, these are my people. Liz Cheney was one of those people like, yo, he should be held accountable for that. And Kevin McCarthy's coming to her like, no, I need him. You get out. So that's what's happening with the Republican Party. I just want to know
how this dude is not even the president anymore, and y'all still acting like a whole bunch of hoes.
Hoes. All the way hoes. Yeah.
They are hoeing for real. Like, literally, it's no longer conservatism, it's Trumpism. And that's a fact.
And I like Liz Cheney at this point because, I mean, look, probably ideologically, whatever, but I just like where she's coming from because she was like, yeah, you know what? I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen.
How do you get voted out of the House?
Well, she's not going to get voted out of the House, period. Although they said they might primary later, but out of her leadership position, yeah, they're going to take a vote. Sham, you and I talked about this a couple of episodes ago, and I said, and I stand by this, women are more likely to do this and have this kind of outcome, where it's like, I don't really care what the consequences are. I have to be able to sleep at night. Like, this is what she's doing. She was like, look, Joe Biden won the election. Like, yeah, we don't like him, but the sky is still blue, y'all. Like, what are we talking about out here? Grass is still green. Water's still wet. Like, I can't go out here and pretend like it's not. And all the guys Kevin McCarthy, Ted Cruz, he's in the Senate, but whatever. All these people are like, no, you're not going with the company line. We're going to get you out. And we even said this guy, if I get voted out, I'll sleep at night. That's what she's doing. Now, the problem is they're going to replace her with another woman who has completely sold her soul and was a friend of hers. But that's another thing for another day. The point being, women are more likely not to sell their soul, but not all women won't sell their soul. Right? Just like anything else. So, now you got something for Florida. You got a story for me.
Yeah, Florida has gone by the way of Georgia and decided to, have some new voter laws. Your favorite governor, DeSantis, has put up a whole bunch of craziness. So they're removing a lot of the polling places. And they're also removing a bunch of the drop boxes as well. So they're just going to make it that much harder for, because in 2 years, he's up for re-election. So they're just going to make it harder for folks in Florida to vote in the same way that Georgia did, except for there was nothing in there about you couldn't give people water. But yeah, that's what's happened in Florida. Florida said, hold my beer.
At this point, I don't care what the hell Andrew Gillum was doing. Like, short of killing somebody, he should be the governor. You know what I'm saying? Like, point blank. Just like Stacey Abrams should be the governor of Georgia.
Oh, that's cool.
I like it. Well, I just like that we were on the air, and at the time, we both were like, this election has so many consequences. It's not even funny for both of those things. And these consequences continue to bear out. Kemp in Georgia, DeSantis in Florida. I mean, the way mishandling COVID, handling the elections like they wanted to handle. It's just awful. Yeah.
It's just, one big thing they did too, and they signed into a bill called Senate Bill 90. So one of the biggest changes was the vote by mail. So you have to request it well before, it has to be a written request, an in-person request, or a request by phone for any of the elections that happen through the end of the calendar year of the next general election. So it's basically you can't get a mail-in ballot, not at the last minute, but I don't want to say we did. It was the last minute before. It was definitely within 6 weeks before.
Well, they made it easier as time was going on because they knew, to your point, they knew people hadn't gotten them yet. Or if you hadn't gotten them, see, I think to your point where this comes into play is there were people that should have gotten them that didn't get them. And at the last minute would hey, I thought I didn't know that I should have gotten it by now. Let me order my mail-in ballot. And they were able to get it to them. Stuff like that is not going to happen.
No, and now you have to provide your driver's license, the last 4 digits of your social, or whatever state ID number you have in order to request a mail-in ballot. And the election supervisors have to record the date that the request was made, the personal identification number by the voter, and the voter's address. I mean, and you have to have a certificate that has a signature and matches. I mean, they're going above and beyond to make this so people will be like, well, maybe I just don't feel like doing that.
Exactly. As exhausted as you were given all those rules, exhausted as I am even hearing it. Imagine having to do all that just to vote. What are we talking about? Yeah, they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. Did you see Bernie Sanders' tweet on this? My man said, instead of making all these rules, he was like, I have an idea. Why don't all of y'all who are making all these rules focus on what the hell y'all supposed to be doing? These are the exact words. Focus on what the hell y'all supposed to be doing and actually fix the problems that these people will go to the polls to try to fix, and then you won't have these problems. He was like, the time you're spending to make these laws could be used to, I don't know, fix the problems that people go to the polls to try to fix in the first place.
People don't want to work and actually do their jobs.
Yeah.
Like, they just want to get paid to be there.
And you know what? The way I said it was the polite version. I don't even want to do Uncle Bernie like that. He said it in a way more gangster way.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because that's what he is. So you got some gossip for us too.
More like grandma gossip.
So what is grandma gossip about?
Grandma gossip is when two grandmas get together and they start talking about their sons and grandsons and such. And then one of them lets it slip that her son was actually at the insurrection on January 6th.
Yikes.
So other grandma took the gossip, took the tea to her grandson, and her grandson immediately called the FBI. And the guy was in a picture on the steps of the Capitol, and the grandson was able to point out who he was to identify him. And the grandma who told the tea to the grandson actually confirmed that that was indeed her friend, the other mother. That was her son. So now they showed up at his house and now he has been arrested.
Now, listen, you already know my feelings about the Capitol insurrectionists. I want them all gone for decades. That being said, I have a small twinge of sympathy if you're in jail because your grandmother talked too much to somebody else at church or whatever. Like, what are we talking about here? Now, the reason that I can laugh at this is because my grandmother would never do this. Like, my grandmother could see me, like, not that she wouldn't cover it up, but the point is she certainly wouldn't gossip about something I had done to somebody else. That stays in house. My secrets are safe for her.
Well, your grandmother wouldn't gossip about anything like that because, one, you probably wouldn't have done it. And two,
I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
She wouldn't have felt so privileged that she wouldn't think that it would be wrong to tell someone. Because that's all this is. You're thinking, oh, my
yeah, she was proud of it.
She was proud of it. Exactly. She didn't feel like he did anything wrong. And she told her friend, and her friend was like, and her friend probably looked at her like, you crazy. And I'm glad that she went behind her back and did it, because had she said something, she probably would have alerted the son. Because honestly, the son had been hiding pretty much, laying low, not really going anywhere, pretty much just staying in the house and stuff as much as he could, because he knew that after, seeing so many folks getting arrested and stuff, that he was probably going to be next.
Sham, I remember how angry I was when the Capitol insurrection happened.
And we all do.
Yeah, we all do. I've now gotten to a point, because it's playing out the way I want. I never want this investigation to end ever. I'm at the point where every time a Capitol insurrectionist gets caught, an angel gets their wings. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to happen forever. And I'm happy about that, because there were thousands of people there. And I remember I went back and listened, and I was like, yeah, I want everybody, years, decades, however long it takes. I stand by that. I'm just not as angry anymore. I'm still like viscerally angry, but I'm not like day-to-day angry about it. But because it's playing out, like, I want them to keep getting caught. And I love all these random stories about how they get caught. And I especially love, Sham, two angels get their wings when they get caught, because they immediately were proud of it. And that pride is what like got the information out. And then they try to run from it later. And they'll say something like, the new thing this week was, I have Fox News-itis. And this was for real. Somebody actually said that. They had listened too much Fox
That's
News.
An actual diagnosis?
That was their diagnosis. That's
I would like
what
to see that written
said.
by a doctor.
Exactly. And it's like, well, your anecdote is CNN, MSNBC. I don't know. But that's what their lawyer told them, that they listened too much Fox News. They got indoctrinated, and they literally said that.
Your anecdote would be a lobotomy.
Yeah, I mean, put him in jail, throw it.
The craziest thing about this too is that they have been looking for this dude because someone anonymously tipped them, the FBI, from online, saying that he was on the steps of the Capitol, but they couldn't confirm it until that grandma's grandson went and told them. But the crazy thing is that there was a member of the FBI that had gone to, like, you know, they weren't like friends with the guy, Robert Lee Petrosh, 51, that's his name. But they've seen him out and about, you know, have been in different like functions or whatever with the dude. So I think he already knew he was being, you know, or close to being caught or investigated, which is why he was trying to keep it low profile. Nice. Yo, moms, did you win, bro?
Hey, man.
And I love it.
And something you can reflect on all your days in the clink. So if we don't got anything else, I love that. That's the kind of update I love us in on. You know what? For the rest of the show, can we end on somebody
getting in the news?
In the news on a Capitol insurrection that's getting locked up in an exotic way? Because if so, I'll take that. I'll sign up for that right now. All right, well, we'll talk about that. But in the meantime, that's all the political world news we got for tape. Man, we got some entertainment. We got some good entertainment. We always got some good entertainment. That's why it's entertainment. Let's go.
Yeah. Now, so
what we got?
We had a lot of fun with Jada Pinkett Smith and talking about the entanglement with August Alsina, and now the meme of Will sitting there crying, looking like he want to punch the shit out of somebody.
Red table talk.
Red table talk. And Red Table Talk has been pretty successful. And last week, or maybe even 2 weeks ago now, because we didn't record last week, Jada had some interesting thoughts about what marriage should look like.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I'll be honest, I forgot. Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. I mean, it's kind of forgettable, but it's an interesting topic anyway. So basically, and I'm paraphrasing, she doesn't believe that marriage has to be what is traditionally a marriage.
I bet she doesn't.
And I do agree with her in that two people who are married should decide what their marriage will look like and what makes them happy within their marriage.
Sure.
But the sanctity of marriage is such that you forsake all others.
Yeah.
For richer or poorer, better or worse, the vows. That's the issue I have with it. Like, if you don't want to, because her idea is like, you know, marriage isn't what, you know, it has changed over the years. It's not what it was meant to be. Like, you know, she doesn't want to be monogamous in her marriage, obviously. And she feels like that should be it. If you don't want to be monogamous in your marriage, then don't be monogamous in your marriage. But I guess my thing is, then don't get married.
Well, Shem, this is so interesting, and you've laid out your position very well. And I agree with it, actually. You and I are in agreement. I am so willing to play devil's advocate for this for a couple reasons. So I don't agree with where she's coming from, but if we're talking about the overall institution of marriage, it's had many different iterations. I told you I watched Big Love on HBO, and it talks about polygamy. Now, I'm not going to take my educational cues from the show, but the point being, it at least opens your mind up to how people think about marriage. And Discover Plus actually has a show about polygamy. I haven't watched it yet. But I think the ultimate point is marriage has taken on different iterations. And a friend of one of my very close friends has always said, listen, man, a lot of times marriage is really more about the society you're in and the legal aspects of, you know, getting people together, making sure family structure is maintained, monetary value to having a family and this and that, which is why marriage is really a legal proceeding. And a lot of how we've grown up is shaped around that. You have to have a marriage license. Divorce is a legal procedure, all that, alimony, child support, whatever. So when you're talking about vows, okay, well, you could take the religious aspect, but a lot of people get married that aren't that religious. So if you want to get married to 1 or 2 or 3 people, if you're, Mormon or whatever, who's to say that's not as legitimate of a marriage as anybody else? It's just her motivation in saying that, I think, is what gives us both pause. Number one. So that's one that was advocated. And then in general, it's like, all right, man. Why get married? Well, then get divorced. Divorce Will Smith right now, if you really feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, why haven't you done it? Like,
I guess my thing is, you can have all of those things. You can have a great union. You can have a family without having, you can have a life partner without putting the marriage umbrella on it. Because, there is something sacred about going through the ceremony and saying the words and agreeing in front of all these people. And you're right, there is a religious aspect to it. I guess you could take it out, but really, what vows are you going to say? I promise to not be mean to you. Like, I don't know. Like, what are those vows look like?
You talking about without religion?
Yeah.
Oh no, you just promise you just vow to be faithful to each other.
Yeah, but what does faithful mean?
No, loyal. Like, you are my priority. Or whatever.
You're my priority, but I'm gonna have these folks on the side.
Don't make me create the vow. But the point is, you don't. If you could take religion out of it and have a spiritual bond with another person, like without. When I say take religion, I mean not tie it to a deity.
I get that.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
You don't
so
have
that's
to get
all.
married in a church, but I feel like the foundation of those vows are pretty much the same. Like, even if you get married in front of a judge at the courthouse, a lot of it is going to be a paraphrasing of what the vows in the Bible are. Like, it's all the same meaning.
That's what I meant by legal. So, like, if you're atheist, you can go to a courthouse and get married. You see what I'm saying? Like, the marriage pact, and that's what my friend said. A lot of this is all about, like, just let's get stuff on paper for, like, legal reasons, so that, when someone dies or something, okay, well, if Shaka is married to Shaka's wife, we don't have to go through a whole bunch of headache with his, if he has kids or whatever. Just give it to his wife, give his property and all that.
That's also what wills are for. But, another aspect of that conversation was that Willow, their 19-year-old daughter, announced that she is polyamorous.
Yeah.
So
that's relationships. Yeah.
Right. So she's like, she's gonna have, her relationships are gonna be whatever she wants them to be.
Yeah. There's going to be a bunch of table talks with that.
Right.
She
said, she feels like the main foundation with polyamory is the freedom to be able to create a relationship style that works for you, and not just stepping into monogamy because that's what everyone around you says is the right thing to do. Okay, so do you want to be polyamorous, or are you just trying to buck the system? I think when you make a statement like that, it sounds like you just don't like the current structure. So I'm just going to say, fuck it.
That's one of those things, like, let me tell you something, man. Sometimes, I'm speaking as a guy, sometimes you meet a woman, it's like, man, you fly, but everything that comes out your mouth, like, you so boring me. Like, you want to get down now. What's up? Like, you talking yourself into, like, a truth that I don't even know. Like, whatever. What's up? That's that kind of thing. Like, you trying to talk yourself into something. Like, either do it or don't. We all got places to be. But right. Look, the most interesting thing about them to me recently, that family, is the dad bod. You see the dad bod for Will Smith?
I did.
He has devoted himself. Look, we can all speculate. I believe he talked about how he got there. I didn't really dive into that.
Man, he was just being lazy.
Man been lazy. He's getting older, whatever. But he said he's going to get back into shape in 12 weeks. Put himself on a 12-week plan. Good for him. So that's pretty much the whole summer.
Yeah, the Bad Boys 2 body is long gone.
And look, post-sport and all that. He don't care.
Yeah, he was like, look, let me stop trying to hide this. But have you seen Jada's mom though?
I mean, Jada's mom is, as you would say, well preserved.
Oh my gosh, I want to look like that when I'm in my 70s. Good grief.
Yeah.
She looks amazing.
She does. That red table talk is taken off for a reason, and she's part of it. So Shan, listen, this is kind of a late thing, but I at least wanted to get some thoughts from you from it because I caught a little bit of news from it. Were you able to catch the Oscars at some point?
I actually did watch the entire thing.
Good. Okay. Mm-hmm. Great. So what are your thoughts?
I can't tell you what I remember from it, but I watched it.
All right. Well, your thoughts may be as substantive as mine. So give me your thoughts in general.
I'll tell you what I liked about it. It was simulcast from different areas of the world. So if they had like some of their foreign nominees, they had a ceremony set up for them, and they did it all like kind of via satellite type thing. So that was really cool. I would have
thought they would have done that by now. Man, that's disappointing that they hadn't, but it's cool that they have by now.
Yeah.
Or it's cool that they had this year. Yeah.
But it was just the nominees in the building. So I think it was like 3 different places where they were. And then they just had the nominees in the main event hall. I think it was in LA. So that was really good. Regina King opened the show. She was nominated for the show The Boys. Oh no, first Night in Miami. Oh, One Night in Miami, that movie.
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
With Malcolm and
Sam Cooke and somebody, right? So she was nominated for that. She didn't win. Daniel Kaluuya won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for the movie he did with that other guy I really can't stand. But we all pretty much knew that he was going to win that. The Black Panther movie he did. I can't remember the names of any of these movies.
All right, keep going. Keep going.
It's so bad. But the funniest thing to me was when and I don't even like Lil Rel, but it was appropriate. But he went up to Glenn Close.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes.
He went up to Glenn Close and asked her if so they were playing songs from movies.
Yes.
They walked up to Glenn Close and asked her if she knew the songs they had played. And she was like, oh, yes, that was Doing the Butt by EU.
Man, pulled it. She was like, wait, I know this. This. No, I loved her whole thing on that.
That whole thing.
Was great.
She shouted out the Backyard Band and everything.
Yeah. And she was like, and the great Chuck Brown. And she was like, all this. She started just naming everything. Yeah.
And she got up and actually did the butt.
Yes. Now, Glenn Close is now a permanent invite to the DC cookout, man.
Yeah, the DC cookout. Absolutely.
The
Shout
way she showed us
DMV. She said the DMV too. That was hilarious.
I mean, I just like how she was sitting there because they were doing like a kind of a game where, you go around and you quiz people. And she was like, wait, I know this. And just kind of was just like reaching for it. And then once she got it, she was like, no, I'm giving all this information. By the way, Judas and Black Messiah was written by Shaka King. Great name.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Nomadland won Best Pictures. And actually, Nomadland won a lot of awards. They won like Best Director, Best Picture. Frances McDormand won for Best Actress. She gave a really weird speech, but it was short. Because normally the Best Actress winners, they're up there the longest.
Yeah.
She was literally up there less than 30 seconds, which was interesting. And I did not understand anything that she was saying.
And Frances McDormand, that was a weird speech. She is a good actress. I mean, she goes back to Fargo and all that stuff. So
yeah, she's a great actress.
She's been around a while. Yeah.
But Sir Anthony Hopkins had won. He won for Best Actor. He wasn't there, So I forgot who accepted it on his behalf. I think it was Don Cheadle.
Mm-hmm. And that was the controversy, right? Because not that Don Cheadle did it, but a lot of people believe that Chad Boseman should have won Best Actor. And, Anthony Hopkins, Anthony Hopkins. Man, is a spectacular actor. One of my favorite actors. But a lot of people feel like, this was more of an emotional thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
People wanted to give it to Chad Boseman. You and I have spent an inordinate amount of time on the show talking about our feelings about Chad Boseman. So
yeah, I just kind of feel like if Anthony Hopkins wins, it's not a slight to Chadwick Boseman. It's like you say, Anthony Hopkins is one of the best actors on the planet.
Yeah, but I think people are talking about this particular performance. Yeah,
I mean, without seeing all 5 of the movies, like, how do you even know?
Yeah,
like, I'm not even gonna sit here.
The voters are supposed to have seen it. Yeah, we have not. So
that's what I'm saying.
We'll save our opinion
for the for the rest of us in the world who are sitting here talking about, oh, he should have won, but did you see all 5? Like, I guess that's my thing. I'm not mad, but so but yeah, there was a very funny lady who won the Best Supporting Actress. Yoon,
mm-hmm.
And she immediately got up there and said that people have been saying her name incorrectly because, in Asian countries, the name is in reverse. I believe in Chinese, It's in reverse. So she started out just saying like, okay, you've been saying my name wrong like my entire life or something like that.
I'm with all that.
But what was great about it is that her English is not so great. So she was piecing words together. And then when she was like, so I guess if you translate it in Chinese, it would be something different. But when she was saying it in English, it was coming out like it was like comic relief because she was nervous and feeling awkward. And she was saying these sentences. And it was great because she was having fun with it too. It was almost like she knew what she was saying didn't sound great. So she was laughing and then everybody was laughing because it just felt so like authentic. Like just being in a room full of English speaking Americans and maybe not having the best, maybe not translating what you're feeling the easiest, but she took it all in stride and it was like the cutest thing. She was so good.
So you watched the entire Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. So you were one of the few people who did. Now, I'm going to make a comment and then I want your thoughts. This was by far the lowest rated Oscars in quite some time. It was like maybe 20, 30 years, something like that. Now, I'm not that surprised at that, but do you attribute that to anything related to the actual production of the show? Or what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know how much it had to do with the production of the show because you wouldn't have known about it unless you watched it. You know what I mean? Like, how would you know beforehand?
Right.
Whether it was going to be a good production or not? Like, you would have to tune in.
True.
Well, you got to also think too, like movie theaters were closed for 2020.
Thank you.
Know what I'm saying? Like, so who was going to the movies? And then like some of the stuff that was, a lot of these things are things that we never even really heard of. I mean, somebody heard of them, obviously, but like there was no buzz because you couldn't get up and go watch any of the stuff.
Yeah. Now, little caveat to your point, all that absolutely true. I think, excuse me, what's factored into that is also like, if people did tune in, how long did they stay?
Right.
So, for example, so you know that. So if they tuned in and then dropped off after like 20 minutes or something like that. But to your point, no, I'll be honest. The Oscars are one of the few shows that I will keep track of, like, okay, when's that coming on? And even if I don't sit there and watch it like through and through, I'll at least like my antennas up, like, okay, the Oscars up. Like, and the Oscars really snuck up on me this year. Like, real talk.
I mean,
and
it
they
was
got moved
later
back.
than it usually is. It was in April.
Exactly.
It's usually in
It got
February.
moved back. It's usually in February. It's usually what, a week or two after the Super Bowl. It's usually
the
Super Bowl,
Grammys.
Oscar.
It's usually the Super Bowl, the Grammys, the SAG Awards, then the Oscars.
Oh, yeah, and then the All-Star game. Like all of those things are like in a succession of weeks. You know what I mean? In February. So the point being, the fact that it was in late April, I think, threw people off. And the fact that no one went to the movies in the theater and no one really had any sense of like, okay, well, the movies we have been seeing on Netflix or on, HBO Max or whatever. So who knows what's nominated and for what and why? So, yeah.
Yeah.
But you enjoyed it though.
Yeah, it was okay. It was a struggle, but I got through it. It was a couple times where I blanked out. But
what does that mean? Like actually winked out a little bit?
There's a couple times where I just got distracted and started doing something else.
Okay.
But I kept it on because I DVR everything. So you know how that is.
Gotcha.
Before we move on, I want to shout out her because she won for Best Original Song. I loved her speech. She was she's always very humble.
You like her?
Oh, she's fantastic. Yeah. She's fantastic.
Yeah. You have shot her out a few times.
Well, yeah, but she won an Oscar. So
No, I got huge. You. That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah. And also they gave Tyler Perry like a lifetime or achievement or something of that nature. Humanitarian of the Year award for his efforts during the pandemic. And he gave a very insightful speech. He was really good. And I like the way they did the memoriam this year. That was really nice.
Yo, the in memoriam during the Oscars is always, because, man, especially, see, it's better when it's in February because it's closest to the end of the previous year. Mm-hmm. And especially when, you get all the ones that have passed away like towards the end of the year, you kind of, those are fresh, but then it takes you back to the beginning of the previous year. Mm-hmm. Like, man, that's right. That did happen. But yeah. All right, cool.
Questlove was the MC, which was kind of hilarious because, in between like commercial breaks, he was playing all this hip hop music. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting there like, yo, these people are like, probably like, what is going on? Like some, but I thought it was awesome.
Sit around, keep a nice face. Don't let the camera show you like giving a stink face, or
the camera you'll be not lying to folks,
or you'll be canceled ASAP. Yeah. All right. Well, good. Glad you enjoyed it. What you watching?
I started watching a show on Disney Plus called Big Shot.
Big Shot, Disney Plus. Okay. Mm-hmm. What's Big Shot about?
So it's about a college basketball coach who was a very good coach, started losing his mind and threw a chair. Bobby Knight style. And was kind of ostracized from the college game. Couldn't find a job and finds the only job he can find is at an all-girls private school in California. So now he's a high school basketball coach. The coach is being played by John Stamos.
Okay. I feel like Martin did a movie like this.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Back
in the aughts.
In aughts, early aughts, maybe even late 90s. But okay. So how many episodes so far?
It's been 4. So in my lull of not being able to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier anymore, I was like, let's see what's on here. And I was like, this is about basketball. I can get with it. So I binge watched the first 3 episodes and I was like, this is actually a pretty decent show.
Nice.
So I watched episode 4 yesterday.
And?
Still good.
Okay. I was about to say, no, you set it up like in my first 3, I liked it. Then I watched episode 4. So I was like, is it like one?
No, I mean, I binge watched the first 3 like last week. Okay, so I had to wait till yesterday for number 4.
Got it. So still good.
Yeah, I'm you know me. I'm gonna stick it in there.
So John Stamos out here cooking.
I mean, he's a decent actor. Like I generally like the things that he's in. It's just they don't seem to last very long.
I don't see him as a coach, but that's an interesting angle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he's selling it.
It kind of reminds me of like Calipari in the way that he moves. Like he comes in like with the Coach K kind of like,
I would see him as more of a Patino.
Okay, yeah. A Patino. Okay. I could see that.
Actually, I don't think that's a compliment on my part because when I think of Patino, I think of kind of a little sleaziness, like how he got in trouble for like banging that chick at the restaurant, like that college student. But
we're just saying as a coach.
But my point being, I'm talking about personality. That's why I can't see him.
That's why I said more like Calipari.
See, I can't see him as a coach, period, but nice. All right, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Other than that, your usual fare?
Yeah, just the usual fare. One by one, they're dropping like flies.
I'm about to say, it's May, right? It's finale time. It's finale time. Any finales make you cry lately?
I mean, ain't no finales yet. We still got a few more weeks.
I don't know about a few. I would say a couple.
No, my shows have a few more weeks.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Everything's been pushed back.
Yeah.
Because normally May 8th, we're talking like finales are coming up for Memorial Day.
Yeah. They've been taking whole breaks like since they started. Like,
but a lot of them been cramming stuff in. I don't know.
They go for 2 weeks and they take a month off. Then they go another they ain't going to be.
So I have a little bit of an update. Law and Order, look, Elliot Stabler told Olivia Benson he loved it last week. Sham, I said it would be tacky. I think they're going to tacky route, try to hook up Benson and Stabler. That's all I'm going to say about that. But it's like low-hanging fruit. Let's just do it. Let's kill his wife at the beginning of the episode or at the beginning of the series, and then let's try to hook them up. So that's what they're doing. Couple other things. House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones prequel, HBO, off the ground. That will be going on next year in February, but that has completely completed production. So that's off the ground. Fast and Furious, might as well be 1,000 at this point. But I want to say 9. Will be out. I say in theaters, but really probably HBO Max or something in 3 weeks. So it has my girl Masende. And finally, Sham, you were talking about what are you doing after Falcon and Winter Soldier? What I'm doing after Falcon and Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. Disney Plus finally reached back out to the Star Wars nerds like me. And they got Bad Batch coming out, or it came out last week on May the 4th, Sham, because May the 4th be with you. That's all our Star Wars nerd jargon. And Bad Batch is an offshoot of Clone Wars and Rebels and all that stuff. Star Wars, next Star Wars iteration show, it'll be basically the in-between between Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki. So this is what they're doing. Animation show. They started out with an hour and a half premiere, which was basically a movie. Transitioning from Revenge of the Sith, Clone Wars, Rebels, all that stuff. They tied all that stuff together. And then and put in some stuff for Rebels. All the Star Wars nerds are yo, these people know exactly what they're doing. Give these people the reins. It's like the DC TV people. It's yo, take the Star Wars out of the movie people's hands and give it to these people. So they did that on Tuesday, and then they came out with another episode on Friday, the 7th. So long story short, the Bad Batch, the new Star Wars show, just like The Mandalorian, they know exactly what they're doing. Don't let the George Lucas old head people run Star Wars. Let these people, the Dave Filoni, Star Wars, Rebels, Clone Wars, all these people run Star Wars, and we'll be all right. It's been spectacular. New best animated show, so I ain't gonna get out of control with it because you know how I like to be. Give them an Emmy right now. that's what I would say. But anyway, check it out. Check it out. Big time. But beyond that, that's all I'm watching these days. Ain't nothing new on. It ain't nothing but sweeps.
Yeah, so I don't know if I told you this, but I'm going down the X-Men rabbit hole.
In what way?
I'm watching them in release order.
Well, stop after 3. And a lot of people don't even like 3. Oh, no, I'm tripping. No, because First Class was spectacular. And Days of Future Past.
I saw First Class. That was really good.
Yeah. Days of Future Past was pretty good, too. But First Class was very good.
I just don't understand why, and this is a struggle for me, while the third movie centered around the most uninteresting character of the bunch.
You're talking about Jean.
Yes.
I understand. They were trying to set up Phoenix and did it horribly.
They were trying to set up Phoenix 15 years earlier.
I was about to say the Phoenix storyline is supposed to be like the best. Yeah, and I'm not a Marvel person, but even I know that. But yeah, I like 3, but again, I'm not a Marvel person. For what I heard, 3 was a butchery of like the actual story. Yeah.
Man, look, I'm not a comic book person. I just watch the movies. And as a movie watcher, I could not understand why this uninteresting character suddenly was like the most powerful mutant ever. And the whole movie was about her. And I was just like, there's so many other interesting mutants. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, Rogue is very interesting. Yeah.
But now I'm moving on to Wolverine. And I'll probably will watch First Class again.
First Class was very good.
And then, I'm just moving about. But I'll tell you what I'm not going to watch.
What's that?
Dark Phoenix.
I mean, Sansa Stark can't branch out, coming to her own in there.
That thirst bucket, lucky she made it to the end of Game of Thrones.
That's the Queen of the North you talking about.
Queen of the thirst buckets.
Man, don't get me started.
So you ready to get into
Saturday nights? Yes, I am. Always. And Saturday Night Lights. But all right, so Sham, we're gonna start sports off with a little bit of different sport. Hockey is landing the plane on the regular season. They're about to go into the playoffs. Now, normally, hockey's a mission for us. That's fine. The Capitals won the Stanley Cup like 2 or 3 years ago in 2018. So 3 years ago. So the DMV is a hockey region. There's no question. But really, the reason I'm bringing hockey up is because at the beginning of this week, they dominated the news. So the Capitals and the New York Rangers they're in the same division. They have a beef. All right, fine. The Rangers are decent, but they're not good enough to make the playoffs. Hockey playoff structure is kind of weird. Whatever. So Tom Wilson, who was viewed in hockey as an enforcer, he gets in fights. He usually wins them. There was a play at the beginning of this week. We played the Rangers on Sunday of last week, the 2nd. And there was a play behind the goal, the net. Tom Wilson was accused of throwing like a sucker punch, and so it caused a big fight, whatever. This was up in New York. So everybody gets suspended, causes a big fight. The Rangers organization, James Dolan, Sham, who we've talked about, James Dolan owns both the Knicks and the Rangers. He was so upset at what Tom Wilson did and the fact that the NHL didn't suspend him for throwing this punch that he puts out this ridiculous statement. Sham, you would have thought Tom Wilson took somebody out and killed them on the ice the way James Dolan was talking about him. He called it a horrific attack. He said that the commissioner should have suspended him, this, that, and the third. The problem is the Rangers and the Capitals played a back-to-back. So after this happened, 2 days later, they come back out. The Rangers are so upset that Tom Wilson didn't get suspended and he was allowed to play in this game, that as soon as the puck drops, they start a fight, like before the game even gets started. So 3 sets of people get into fights. All right. 3 fights happen. Boom. Okay. They break those up because, hockey, they're just allowed to fight for like no reason, like for like 2 or 3 minutes. Just refs just stand there. Then they eventually break it up. It's all a big cheer and everybody goes to the box.
Which is why I'm like perplexed as to why all of this commotion over a punch. This is what y'all do.
So then after that, like that happens. Then another minute happens. 2 other fights. There are a total of 6 fights in the first 5 minutes of this game because the Rangers feel like the NHL didn't do enough against the Capitals about this supposed sucker punch. So there are 100 penalty minutes. Like everybody gets put in the penalty box. It's a complete mayhem. Like all they're doing is, by the way, the Rangers are losing all these fights. Now, a couple of our New York friends want to say, oh, yeah, they want to fight. No, they didn't. Like they were getting their ass kicked. And then on top of that, the Capitals came out and then won 6-3 and kicked the Rangers out the playoffs in the process. Like, because that's how these things work. But what ended up happening over the 2 weeks, the NHL suspended the Rangers a $250,000 for not only criticizing the NHL, but starting all these fights. And that's what dominated the beginning part of the week. And really what it came to was what you just said. What's the point of like all these fights in hockey? Don't even allow, like if NBA players like punch each other, they both get suspended, point blank. Like even the person who gets punched half the time gets suspended. So like, what are y'all doing? Y'all are running a rugby league like a circus league. Stop it. But that happened at the beginning of the week. But the Caps are very good. Probably, we have a good chance to win the Stanley Cup again. You don't care about that. And a lot of people don't care about that, but that's fine. And by the way, I'm watching the Nets and Denver game. Brooklyn is still losing. They're on the losing streak. And Kevin Durant needs to go bald, champ. Like, point blank.
Yeah, that hairline is trash.
Trash.
Yeah, the only takeaway that I got from that Caps and Rangers debacle is that, one, you complained about something that happens every day. And when you didn't get what you wanted, you started fights. And then it bit you in the ass because you ended up getting the shorter end of the stick anyway. Like, you let one punch create all of this stuff. And now y'all ain't even going to be in the playoffs or whatever. Like, sit down.
All the way down.
But where the Nets are concerned, though, they really need James Harden.
Yeah, last time we were talking and I was giving NBA news and I was like, oh, Nets are balling. You were like, that's not news. Well, now it would be news if they started balling again. Yeah. Because they'd lose.
I actually watched part of the next game on Thursday night when it was on TNT. And Kyrie kind of single-handedly kept them close at the end. Mm-hmm. Because Kevin Durant was like 6 for 1,000. I mean, I don't know, it was something ridiculous. So, and I guess Kyrie was with a hamstring with James Harden. Yeah.
I mean, look, this is the one thing I'm not going to get on James Harden about. I mean, he's probably worn out because he's the only one that's been playing all damn season. I mean, since he got there, I'm saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Before he was wearing the fat suit in Houston. Right. By the way, he has the worst record in the NBA. That's talk about it like tragic.
John Wall down there, like, yikes. Yeah,
well, I forgot he was there. That's how bad they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but with them, look, a lot of people, they'll be fine. They'll obviously if all 3 of them get healthy in time, they'll make noise in the playoffs, but you can't take these things for granted. I mean, you just can't. And they need to develop some kind of chemistry over the course of the playoffs. And all three of them, but especially Durant and Harden at this point, can get hurt at any time. And Kyrie may go on sabbatical during the playoffs. Like, you never know with him.
Nah, he usually shows up during the playoffs.
Yeah.
He might go on sabbatical the week before, though.
Right. Which is like now. So, yeah.
Like he won't be there tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, right. Yeah. So, so that's what's happening with them. I mean, as far as NBA goes, my Wizards, Surgeon, won the game. Listen, I was trying to keep it together the whole game. Russell Westbrook came up with a huge block at the end of the game and beat the Pacers. So we are officially in the 9th spot in the East, which obviously puts us in the play-in situation. Look, the Wizards, what they've done towards in the month of April and into May towards the last part of the season has been great. Scott Brooks, to me, is still on thin ice. I mean, because this just shows what should have been happening, if not all season. I understand Russ was hurt. Russ for president, but Sham, he still leaves his brain all the way home. Oh, my God. Like, even in the game against, we just played Toronto, and I wanted to pull my hair out. I've never been so miserable watching a game in my life. Like, and I'm not blaming just Russ on that, but Russ at the end of that game had a triple-double. He's about to break the record. He's about to break Oscar Robertson's record for triple-doubles. He just tied it tonight, I believe. And at the end of the game, Russ gets upset at the call. It's a tight game. He has 5 fouls. He gets so mad at the refs that he purposely fouls out just to complain to the refs. Sham, I don't know how dumb, like as dumb as that sounded, it looked dumber than that. That's exactly what he did. Like last night. Now, fortunately, we won the game. That's what's been happening with them. So that's the Wizards in a damn nutshell. And we're gonna circle back to the NFL, but Sham, what you think about the Lakers?
The Lakers are in trouble.
I mean, they felt it.
AD got re-injured on Thursday night.
And even before, they fell to the 7th seed. Sham, I thought about you because of how you criticize LeBron, and this is such a LeBron thing to do. Apparently, he has a problem with the play-in tournament now. Now that the Lakers are now in that situation. So last week, he basically called the play-in situation BS and was like, whoever came up with this rule was stupid. But last year, when he was in the bubble, he applauded the rule.
Of course
because he wasn't worried about that because they were number 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think about it's like this kind of stuff Sham talk about with LeBreeze.
This is the bitch ass I be talking about.
I don't cape for LeBreeze. I don't, because I disrespect him a lot unintentionally most of the time on the show. But it's stuff like that. It's like, LeBron, this is why people like be iffy about you. Michael Jordan would not care what the rules were to get the 7th and 8th seed in the playoffs.
He wouldn't care if he was the 1 seed or the 8th seed.
Exactly. Like, okay, well, those are the rules. Fine. I'm getting in the playoffs regardless. So whatever. Like, fine. And if I am in the position that I have to be in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, then we'll just win those games so I can get in. And I won't care. Yeah.
Just another mountain to climb.
Yeah, just another mountain. But he was like bitching and hoeing about it. So look,
I just cannot.
So, but the point is, the Lakers are at the 7th seed, so they're in trouble. Like, this is a problem.
You know what? I hope they lose their play-ins because this is just, like it's like some front running shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. And, AD, I was watching PTI and Wilbon was talking about AD, and I agree with them. AD, hey, listen, man, when you're healthy, this is not acceptable. Like, we can criticize LeBron all day, but you cannot allow this team to fall like this if you're in the lineup. Like, you got to squeeze out some of these wins to keep you out above board. And that's it. But whatever. But Sham, as we wrap up, let's talk some NFL. Look, most of the time, this is the offseason, whatever, but we had a draft.
I always say I don't talk about the NFL till August.
Well, we did have the draft. So the Eagles did. How you think the Eagles did in the draft?
I don't know
that much.
I didn't watch.
You didn't follow it?
No, it's not August.
I heard that the Eagles did all right. So,
well, okay, they got Devontae Smith, which.
Oh, okay. So you did see something.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not in it, but if it passed me, if it falls in my lap, I will.
Sure, fall in your lap. All right. Yeah. Well, what else about the Eagles?
That's all I know.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's literally all I know.
My Raiders, even though the so-called prognosticators gave us like D pluses, they drafted everybody out. In terms of they filled all the needs that I feel we should have. In terms of the draft itself, I did watch it. We didn't have a lot of the shenanigans we had last year with girlfriends taking guys' phones and stuff like that and acting up.
That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, I know, right? Didn't really have that. It was actually pretty low key. This year was pretty good. I mean, low key in the sense of no drama, but it was actually, pretty open and fair. They had fans there and all that stuff. So it was good. It was good. It was good. I watched Thursday night and Friday night. Now I flipped back and forth with other stuff was on, but it seemed to be a good time. They had it out in the open. They had people with masks. Actually, Shane, one thing I liked that they did, they had I guess every team named like the fan of the year or something like that. I forget what exactly it was called, a super fan. And they allowed that person to sit on the stage. And the commissioner, when he was walking out with the card, would show them the pick first. So they'd be the first person to know it before he actually announced it.
So then there were only 6 people out there because there's probably the only amount of teams that actually had fans in the building.
Oh, no. They did it for every team. I understand what you mean, but they did it for every team. So,
you couldn't even go to games. They have a fan of the year.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. They found somebody for every team.
I mean, that's cute or whatever.
No, it was good. It was cool. It's a nice little touch because they would find like regular people. You know what I'm saying? They'd be excited. No. So he would literally, they would have a chair for them and they would have him sit there and then he would like walk out from the back. And as he would walk into the stage, he would show them the card and like they would acknowledge it, kind of like cheer, whatever, and they would go and announce it. And they did that for, the whole first round. So it was cool. Look, try something new every year. You don't have much to work with, but it was cool. But beyond that, now, what kind of put a shadow over the weekend, because I'd rather go to this first and kind of end on a good note that you showed me. Aaron Rodgers. Now, you and I always talk about A-Rod and how surly he is and how, just a complete... you know what? I don't think I've ever said this word, but I'm going to say it now. A-Rod's a malcontent. He's a complete malcontent.
I find him very entertaining.
Oh, he's extremely entertaining.
I mess with him so hard.
We've talked about him outside the box, talking about Jeopardy and all this stuff. But I would never want Aaron Rodgers as an employee ever, even though he's completely skilled. So he was upset, still carrying the grudge from last year. I heard another story this week that he was upset that they traded someone, like some tight end that he liked. It wasn't even like an important part of the team, but he was just mad that he had vouched for the guy that they traded him or cut him last year. So he hangs on to all these little grudges, and eventually he built to a point where he decided that he wanted his agent or whoever to leak out right before the draft that he's not going to come and play for Green Bay this year. So that casts a shadow over the whole weekend. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't mind. They've been treating Aaron Rodgers like second-rate trash. Like he can whatever, man. Do
So,
you, A-Rod?
Acceptable behavior? Exactly
Yes.
what he's doing?
Yes, I like it.
Now, I heard this is about money, though. Like, all these other ancillary things, that's fine. But he was like, look, okay, what's up with the extension? And they were like, we want you to take a team-friendly extension, less money, spread it out. He was like, no, like, give me my guap ASAP.
He's like, I'm not Tom Brady. Like, what the hell?
Right.
I don't do that.
Tom Brady got 5 more of these to me, and I feel like I'm better than him. Number one. That's probably exactly what he said. If y'all demons weren't trash, like I had more. He got 5 more than me, and I'm better than him. Like, somebody explain this to me. And y'all want me to take a pay
cut? Tom Brady has 6 more.
Does he have 7?
Yes.
Jesus. No, wait, 6 or 7?
He has 7. He
That's
just
right.
got the 7th with Tampa Bay.
God. That man has 7 Super Bowls. It's hard to like remember that.
It's so ridiculous that one person has more than
he's
any team.
He's 6 more than him. 6.
Yeah, but I'm still better than him. I'm still
Aaron Rodgers is like, yo, I'm better than him.
And if it wasn't for y'all, I might have 7.
And y'all want me to take a pay cut. That's what you're telling me. Now, granted, Green Bay's like, look, it's not a pay cut. It's just like a restructure, like whatever. Yeah, he's like, no. You're talking around me. Give me my guap.
Right. Nah, but in all seriousness, like, I don't have an issue with anything that Aaron Rodgers is doing, except that, like, this is the aging quarterback conversation. This happens with every aging quarterback when it's time to, think about the restructure and all that kind of stuff. But, he go do it how he do it.
So here's the question. Do you believe him? Like, or he hasn't said anything yet, but do you believe the story that he is willing to sit this one out if he don't get what he wants? So the story is he's demanding a trade. And Sham, I've been trying to sit on it, but my team, see, it's such an insult to us, though. It makes us look so thirsty.
It's an insult to Aaron Rodgers.
See, you always take a shot at us, and that's fine.
You're not very good.
I mean, we first and foremost, we were better than y'all last year.
It doesn't matter. It didn't take much to be better than us, so that's not a good defense.
We were 500. We were 500 last year.
That is not a good defense.
We were 500 last year, and we were the only team to beat the Chefs when they were trying. We're fine. Okay.
Yeah, but a guy like him will want to go someplace where he feels like he can go.
He can win. He can win with us. What are you talking about?
You ain't got no defense.
We just got Ngakoue. Don't make
me
like.
One person?
Look, we're not going to do that. We're not, on the D line. That's everything. Stop.
Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever.
But anyway,
you're never going to be unbiased and look at it clearly.
Neither. Apparently, are you? I feel like you're trolling.
No, I am looking at it like that.
But anyway, the point being,
it's like going to Detroit. Like, what the hell? He wouldn't win there.
Okay, now you're saying ridiculous things. Stop. Anyway, we're way better than Detroit. But anyway, Aaron Rodgers has made it known that Las Vegas, he wants to go in the West. He wants to go in the West.
He wants to be in Cali because that's where he's from.
Right, but the Chargers aren't going to do that because they have Herbert. See, we have Carr. Carr's, he's not old, but he's not young. Herbert is in this, this will be his second, maybe third. I don't know. But the point being,
his best bet will go to San Francisco.
But they're not going to do that either.
They're not going to do it, but that will be his best bet.
And Green Bay is not going to do that. See, Green Bay has a stake in this too. They're not going to trade him to anyone in the NFC is what the report was. So he has to go to AFC. Again, we're the logical destination, but they make us look thirsty, whatever. But he wants to trade. Do you believe that? Do you believe he'll be willing to sit out? So let's get back to
I absolutely do not believe he will be willing to sit out.
Because of money?
No, because of his ego.
See, his ego is the reason I do believe he'd do it. I believe if anyone has the wherewithal and the stomach to look a team in the eye and be like, you know what? If you don't do what I want, yeah, I'll sit out and let y'all suffer. It's Aaron Rodgers.
I feel that, but I also feel like here's a guy who knows he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't see him not wanting to play.
Right. Yeah, no. Oh, and I feel that. Just like you feel my statement, I feel yours. And that's what makes it so interesting. Because Aaron Rodgers is that type. He's arrogant enough. And I say that in a good way. Like he knows how good he is and doesn't want that to be forgotten. But at the same time, he's also so arrogant to believe like, I'm not going to let this team play me. Like, whatever.
But you know what else? If they get another quarterback in there and they actually win games and they're like, say they even go 10-6 and he sits out, that'll anger him even more.
Yeah.
I think he's so egotistical enough that he wouldn't want any other quarterback to take his shine.
But by that point, they won't care.
They wouldn't care. I'm saying he would not want another quarterback to step in and take his shine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he thinks that's a risk.
Yeah, I don't think that he would think that's a risk, but that would be quite hilarious if that did happen.
Yeah. So very interesting how this play out. So we'll keep an eye on that. But last story, you sent me. And yes. I like this.
You know why? Because it's about track and field.
Exactly.
Which is my second favorite sport. So DK Metcalf, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks and apparently one of the fastest players in the NFL, is going to enter the 100-meter dash at the USA Track and Field Golden Games in Walnut, California, and it airs tomorrow, 4:30 to 6 p.m. So Eastern time, of course, it'll be on NBC. So he will be running the 100-meter dash, which is interesting. Now he has to run a 10.2 to be able to qualify for the Olympic trials, which is going to be held in June in Eugene, Oregon. So this is more like to just get the Olympic standard. So we'll see.
Now,
I love when football players do this, especially if they ran track in high school and college.
Now, you sent me a story and I read it, but just for the sake of the family. So let's map this out. Let's say he qualifies. Mm-hmm. So the Olympics, schedule-wise, will be, what are we talking? Late June through early August, right?
It doesn't even. It starts in late July, and the track and field is on the back half of it, so it'll be in August. He will be missing some football time for sure.
Missing some camp. Mm-hmm. Missing some camp. Now preseason, I mean, Metcalf don't really need playing preseason games, but he definitely missed some camp. So sounds like the organization is behind this. See, I guess my question really more so is most of the time teams don't really want you doing anything athletic at this point in contracts because of risk of injury. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how this conversation went and how supportive the team is. I don't know if you got any news on that. I mean, clearly, look, if it's out this much and there's been no rebuttal, then the team is supportive. And Seattle will also always allows their guys to kind of, pursue other things or whatever. If there's an organization, I'll put it this way. If there's an organization in the NFL who I can see backing this, it will be Seattle.
I would actually have to see what that contract was like. I used to have a copy of an NFL player contract. This was before the last CBA, so I'm sure it's probably different now.
Okay. But
I took a sports law class when I was in law school, and my professors, I would say my instructors, were both NFL agents, so they gave us a copy of the NFL player contract, and it's the same one for everybody. It doesn't change. So I would be interested in seeing what that says. But I always look at like something like track and field only helps. Like, it's not like they're like going out and wrestling or, doing like a contact sport. This is running. So, I mean, it doesn't really hinder your performance as a football player. You're just running.
Unless you pull something or
you could do that playing football. But I mean,
but they don't want you doing extra things.
But I mean,
like in the off season,
there have been NFL players before who have done this. Marquise Griffin, he's on the Goodwin. Yeah. He's on the Eagles now. He sat out last year. He was in the Olympics for the long jump. I mean, he's been doing that for years. So I'm not saying it's unheard of to do something, but what I'm saying is in these contracts that hopefully you can find one of the old ones you took a look at. They don't want you doing extra. So obviously they want you to work out. They want you to stay in shape, but they don't want you doing extra activity that could be deemed strenuous because of the risk of injury. Now, again, they make exceptions if you participate in another sport. That's why people can do dual sports. I would just be interested to see if we're talking about I guess what I'm drawing the line is if we're talking about if you're already in the sport and they know that. So, for example, Kyler Murray was a baseball player and a football player. And both sports knew that. So when he was drafted by the Cardinals, they knew that he could have potentially played baseball. And even then, they probably had some caveats. But if you're like trying out, which he essentially is, for another sport and going through the rigors of that, that's different than like just working out. Even if it could potentially help you, there's a difference between trying out in an Olympic fashion for track and field than just, oh, well, I'm in the off season and I'm running to keep myself in shape. Like, it's different. You're going extra. And there's a potential for injury there. So I'll be very interested to see how that plays out and if that's litigated. Because I think that's how the teams will look at it. Now, they may begrudgingly allow it, but I think they would probably keep an eye on it. And especially if he like tweaks something, oh man, they would use that as an excuse to like not pay him. Like I don't think they got to worry about much because I don't think he's gonna make that Olympic standard tomorrow. But
you don't?
No.
Okay.
There's people that do this for a living that been doing this months and months and months that ain't running that fast. So
imagine if he don't make it and he gets and he like tweaks a hammy or something, Chan. Man, do you understand how mad the Seattle Seahawks will be if he gets hurt doing this and still doesn't if he gets hurt doing this and doesn't get anything out of it?
I mean, it's also May. So if he does pull a hamstring, he got 3 months to get it together.
Okay. Just saying.
But I mean, I guess my thing is if you're going to do another sport, this one falls way closer in line to what you actually do. Like,
oh, sure. You're not doing X Games.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the stuff they really worry about. Like, look, don't go skate. Like,
you know what I'm saying? He just
ride a motorcycle. Like, don't
he
do
ain't
that.
even running a whole lap. He just running.
No. Listen, I played that risk up, but like, the stuff they really worried about is like, dude, like, don't go out like skydiving, okay?
Right. Don't get on a motorcycle. You know what I'm saying?
What some of these guys are doing.
But good luck to him.
Poor Dookie J. Williams.
Yeah, it just wasn't very smart.
His career. We got great analysts. We got a great analyst out of it.
Absolutely. He's way better than I would have imagined he could be as an analyst, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually wasn't surprised that he was that good as an analyst. Like, when he would speak as a player, I kind of saw that coming. But look at you. But anyway, what else you got? Anything else?
No.
So this 104.
Is it though?
Yeah. Right?
No.
Yes.
103.
Yeah, you know what? I'm skipping episodes and all that. 103. Who's good 103? Okay.
And 103 out. That's right, folks. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Stop Playing Podcast with Sham and Shaka. Once again, you can find us at www.stopplayinpodcast.com. Scroll to the bottom, choose your favorite podcast app, and subscribe. Also, find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Stop Playing Podcast and on Twitter at stop_playing_pod. Visit us on YouTube or email us at info@stopplayingpodcast.com. And like we always say, no double dipping unless it's the podcast. Keep your chips on the plate. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Stop playing.